Hey guys, welcome to Inspire Nations, where we equip you to learn, love, grow, and you go walk out your God-given purpose. My name is Christina Vieira, Regional Vice President with Arbonne International. As always, you want to visit earnings.arbonne.com to see and look at the amazing opportunity. It's our disclaimer for our culture, our ingredient policies, and all things possible and all things Arbonne. So I want to get right into our third episode, which is titled, There is No Room for a Thriving Business with a Critical Spirit. I'm going to say that again. There's no room for a thriving business with a critical spirit. So I'm a definitions girl. I like definitions. I like true, actual information. So I'm actually going to give you the definition that I Googled earlier this week on what a definition of a critical spirit is. A critical spirit is an obsessive attitude of criticism and fault finding. It is a person who is inclined to criticize severely and unfavorably. The critical spirit creates blind spots in a person's heart and mind, causing them to believe that they are being constructive. So I want to give you my quick testimony with Arbonne, just to give you a quick background. I was introduced to Arbonne almost 14 years ago by a family that I grew up with, a family of sisters that I grew up with. And when I was introduced to Arbonne, I was in corporate America. I was raising my son on a single income. I had him when I was in college. So when I found out that I was having my son in college, I went straight to work. And I knew that I was going to be on an single income. Never had any child support, never had any financial help from anyone other than me. So I was provider and I was nurturer. And so in that journey of my quick Arbonne journey, I'll try to be really quick. I'm working on it. Okay. I'm working on sharing my quick story because I think it's so important and so extensive, is that I was not looking for something like this. But because I didn't have a critical spirit, I was actually open-minded into seeing what this might actually be and what this might actually not be, because I had an idea of something that it was. So glad it wasn't. And fast forward to my life now, I'm a regional vice president with Arbonne. I more than replaced my corporate income in the income bracket that I'm in now. And I actually get to live life on, I would say, better terms. I know some people say your own terms, and yes, I'm able to create my own schedule and create my own and make my own decisions. But I believe that we all have that in any capacity, because we all have our own decisions. But I'm able to live my life on better terms, where I can put what's important to me ahead of working for like a 9-to-5 type of job. So with that being said, in the process of that, I've had a small part in changing so many lives. And I want to just be an example to you guys, but also give you guys hardcore information on how a critical spirit can either hinder any of your success or the progress of, or it can actually hold you back from something that might not just change your life, but like radically transform it. So there are actually 4 types of critical spirits that we're going to go over in this training. And if you don't have your notebooks out, get your notebooks out, or make sure that you listen to this recording, because you're going to want to, I think you're going to want to save this information for future use, because it's not only applicable to your businesses, but I believe it's applicable to your entire lifestyle, whether it's your parenting or whether it's your relationships or whatever that looks like for you. But these 4 types of critical spirits, I believe that they are in effect in all facets of a life. So number 1 is the first type of critical spirit is the gossiper. The gossiper. So the gossiper is one who loves to know the secrets of others so they could be the one to share it. This is done with, honestly, just a wrongful motive and without the consent of the person who the information belongs to. A gossiper, they like to appear powerful or be a source of information and all knowledge to make themselves feel important. So we know that most of the time it's coming from a source of pain, because maybe they don't feel important. So they know this like secretive information, you know, like, oh, I know this, but it's not coming from a good place when they actually like spit that out. They will often put themselves in conversations to purposely gain information while simultaneously think, what can they do with that information later? So it makes them feel powerful. Okay. I'm a Christian, and I don't want to like infringe on anybody's beliefs, but I like to really reflect my life, my lifestyle, and the way that I live my life and my mindset based off of biblical principles that I think are really helpful to everyone. So, well, they're very helpful to everyone. So the Bible's perspective on a gossiper is, I'm just going to read out of 1 Timothy 5:13. At the same time, they also learn to be idle as they go around from house to house, and not merely idle, but they're also gossiping and they're busybodies, talking about things that are just not proper to mention. And for my point of view with that being said is, well, gosh, that doesn't seem very productive. It doesn't seem like a gossiper lives a very productive life. So when you're around people who are not gossipers, they're productive because the conversations they have are productive, how they spend their time is productive, and what they're doing is contributing back into society and helping their life go from point A to point B to point C and down the line, so that we're constantly growing. In Proverb, it says, he who goes about as a talebearer reveals secrets. He who is trustworthy conceals a matter. So, and you guys, I want you to understand that no one's perfect. I've definitely said things that I'm like, why did I say that? Like, what was I thinking? And, the great thing is that we always get second chances, but it's something to be mindful of and moving forward in like actually who you become. Number two, the second type of critical spirit is the slanderer. The slanderer is someone who makes false statements for the purpose of intentionally damaging another person's reputation. This person will often make statements against those that they are threatened by or envious of. I'm going to go straight to the Bible's perspective on this, and then I'm going to give you some just of my, thoughts and perspective of this. The Bible's perspective, Proverbs 10:18. He who conceals hatred has lying lips, and he who spreads slander is a fool. Proverbs 16:28. A perverse man spreads strife, and a slanderer separates intimate friends. 1 Peter 2:1. Therefore, putting aside all malice and all deceit and hypocrisy and envy, and put aside all slander. So when the definition of a slander up here, well, not up here, what here? When the definition of a slander in this document says it is a person who will often make statements against those that they are threatened by or envious of. This is where I want you to be really conscious of conversations that you're having with other people and ask yourself, like, if someone says something that may not be fully uplifting and encouraging of someone else, was that a productive thing for them to say? And do you want to spend your time around that person? Or if you find yourself kind of, I don't know, like pointing out someone's flaws to another person, why did you do that? It usually comes from a sense of either insecurity, or you might find yourself in an environment where like everybody does that and it's like normal and you feel like you have to do those things to even feel included. I'm challenging you to step out of the box and be different, and don't. If it doesn't edify someone else, and if it is not productive in moving that person's life forward, especially in a private one-to-one conversation about someone else in a public setting, it's just not worth saying at all. So the slanderer, and it's sneaky and sly, and it can happen so ever so subtle. And you guys, like I said, no one's perfect, and we can all find ourselves in situations like these, but it's something that we want to correct and just be mindful of moving forward, so that way we can really set a high standard, not just in who you're building in your Arbonne team, but like the people that you're spending time with in your life, but what your life looks like and what you want to be remembered by. So number 3 is the judge. So the third critical spirit is the judge. The judge has a harsh, critical point of view. They often can't see the viewpoints of others because theirs is clearly the right one in their eyes. They tend to see the mistakes of others and exaggerate the mistakes of others, while actually excusing their own shortcomings. They often overuse or rely on their own knowledge and expertise in subjects as a way to defend their point of view or level of intelligence. So you guys, they tend to see the mistakes of others and they exaggerate those others' mistakes while excusing their own shortcomings. It's basically it's kind of a cop-out. It's kind of a cop-out of saying, oh, well, that person so-and-so, to basically make themselves feel a little bit better. You guys always want to remember, don't judge someone else. And if you're going to judge them, overjudge them in a positive way. Like sometimes I literally tell myself, if someone says something to me that might actually be derogatory, I literally tell myself, you know what? When she was saying that about my hair or whatever, so-and-so, she was really saying that, I don't know, I'm trying to give an example. Like somebody said, man, your hair is like really wild. And I'm like, It is. So I could have taken that as an insult, right? And I'm like, she likes my hair. Like I literally switched the script in my brain. I'm like, she is complimenting me. Thank you very much, because my hair is really wild and I love it, right? So like, you just have to kind of flip the script and what you tell yourself, because it's not my issue. Like what she thinks of me or what that person thinks of me is not my issue, right? My issue, or like the only thing I need to worry about is what God thinks of me, and what, how I think of me, and like, am I moving in a forward direction? So the judge, don't be one. Don't be one. And it's very easy, you guys. We judge other people. It's just I think it's our nature. Like I really honestly think it's like human nature to just judge situations. But you want to be really mindful. Am I judging that person? Or am I like observing something about them that's like a red flag? That's a different story. Like that's probably a little bit of wisdom. Like you're observing a situation, but are you judging that person because it makes you feel better? You have to be very, very, very careful, because it's a very, very fine line. So, and it's a critical spirit. So don't have it. You're not going to thrive in your own business or your life in that, for that matter. Let's see what the Bible's perspective is on judging others. Matthew 7:1-2, do not judge so that you will not be judged. For in the way that you judge, you will be judged. And by your standard of measure, it will be measured to you. So, and that is Matthew 7:1-2. I think I said that. And then this is James 2:13, verse 13. For judgment will be merciless to the one who has shown no mercy. Mercy triumphs over judgment. So when you do get judged by others, because you will, and you are on a constant daily basis, have mercy and grace on them. And just remind yourself, their issues are not your issues, but make sure that what you can't control that. Like I can't control what people think of me. I can't control like if people judge or do not judge me, but what I can control is how I treat those other people, and how I like put that in my mind, and just make sure that I'm not like dwelling on it or, freaking out. How we react to things matters most. So number 4, the fourth critical spirit, I forgot the word I was using. The fourth critical spirit is the complainer. The complainer. So actually complaining is a characteristic of having a critical spirit. So this is really hard right now because, inflation is crazy and gas prices are nuts and all this stuff, right? It is very easy to complain about certain situations, and that's a whole other topic because, well, real quickly, when you complain, it's an actual fact. According to Dr. Caroline Leaf and the research that she has done, when you complain, if they put put those little things on your brain and register your brain waves, it actually responds as brain damage. So every time you complain, your brain responds as brain damage. So that's kind of insane. So the complainer, coming from a place of a critical spirit, is actually someone who is always negative about the lives of others and their outlook on life. Okay. Everyday tasks that others don't think twice about are often something that the complainer will focus on. So honestly, when you think about it, it's just something in them does not agree with something in you. It could come from a place of envy. It could come from any place. But everyday tasks that someone else does that they're not even thinking of, they're like, this doesn't bother me. The complainer will complain about, why is that person so-and-so? Why is that girl so positive all the time? Why is that girl da-da-da-da? That's the complaining. That's the complainer coming from a place of having a critical spirit. A lot of times when you ask them, hey, what are you excited about? What are you hopeful for? They find immediately something negative to focus on instead. They often express their discontentment or lack of heart or gratitude towards blessings. So I want you to ask yourself, when someone asks you, how's your Arbonne business doing? What do you say to them? What is your knee-jerk reaction into saying, this is how my Arbonne business is going? I was always told to say, how's your Arbonne business going? I was always told to say, it's going amazing. It's amazing. Because it doesn't matter. Even if you have like the crappiest month ever, like, well, dang it, that's amazing. I wasn't expecting that. You know what I mean? Like you can literally flip your script. So my response to how's your Arbonne business going is always going to be, it's amazing, because the Arbonne opportunity is, you guys, and we're not attached, our identity is not attached to the success in your Arbonne business. But that is an example of someone with a critical spirit that is a complainer, or has those tendencies to complain. Their knee-jerk reaction is to go, oh, The website's like so slow. And I just wish that Arbonne this. And I just wish. And why doesn't Arbonne? And why? And this person didn't call me back. And I just don't understand. I'm still a district manager. Oh my gosh. Don't complain. Don't do it. Tell yourself not to do it. Put your hand on the wrist and go, no, I'm not going to do that. That's actually having a critical spirit. And you don't realize that you're speaking death over your business or over your life. It can be an example of life. Hey, how's life going? It's just crazy busy right now. The kids are out of school and I don't know what to do. And the house is a mess and gas is so high. Don't do it. Don't do it. We find ourselves doing it, but try not to. And I want to go back to this topic really quickly. When you're in an environment of people who their natural tendencies are any of these 4 critical spirits, it's very easy to find yourself to fit into that environment to accommodate to those behaviors. And I'm honestly challenging you, please don't do it. Be the person that doesn't. Those who want to change either will, and those who don't want to change won't, but do not let it affect you, because it's going to hinder your walk with God. It's going to hinder your walk with your Arbonne business, your relationships and all things, and the roles that you have in your life. So do not let yourself shrink and go down to that level. Be very, very, very mindful. Sometimes you just have to walk out of the room. The Bible's perspective on a complainer in James 5:9, do not complain, brethren, against one another, so that you yourselves may not be judged. Behold, the judge is standing right at the door. So that's talking about complaining about each other, because we're all a family. We're all human. Nobody's perfect. Okay, so to expect perfection from someone is unrealistic, and it's just not going to happen. And it's probably unwise, because it's going to drive you crazy, because you're never going to, you can't expect perfection from people because no one's going to be perfect. So just to take that load off your own shoulders, give people grace moving, you just do it. You just make it a standard of your life. But you guys don't talk about each other. Don't complain about each other. Don't do it. It's not productive. It's not productive. And it actually doesn't even represent what our company and what our company culture is. So that's it really doesn't reflect Arbonne in a good way. But not only that, it hinders you. I promise it hinders you. Remember what that does into your brain. That's a scientific fact. In Philippians 2:14, do all things without grumbling or disputing. I look at this in a way of work. Work is work. It's called work for a reason. So we have to make sure that we're not oh my God, this is so hard. We have to make sure that the things that we're saying out loud do not speak death unto our life, our lifestyle, our progress, our journey, and our Arbonne business. You guys listen. In the 14 years that I've been doing Arbonne, I would have gone back and done so many things sooner. And I wasn't the person that I am today that I was back then. I made so many mistakes. It was not coachable. I could go on and on and on about just how ridiculous I was in my Arbonne journey, due to outside circumstances or whatever. Doesn't matter. Not a victim. No one's a victim. But honestly, now knowing what I know, I can't go back and live the life that I used to live and be the person that I used to be and think like I used to think. And I'm not where I want to be, but I'm on my way. I'm on that journey, but I'm definitely not where I was. So I'm not exactly where I want to be. I've still got that target. I'm still moving forward. I'm this is the life that I want to live. This is the lifestyle that I want to have. This is who I want to become. Most importantly, this is who I want to become. And what I want to allow God to do is a transformational process. But I'm definitely not the person that I was. And I want you to ask yourself, who are you today compared to who you were 6 months ago, and who you were a year ago, and who you were 5 years ago? And I want you to ask yourself, who do you look up to? Who do you respect? What are the qualities in that person? And not just their personality, but their characteristics and their character and how they conduct their lives. And ask yourself, are you moving in that same direction to become like that person? Maybe that person's qualities are a target that you want to mirror. You don't want to idolize anybody, because like I said, everybody's human. No one's perfect. But there are people that are a good example to follow after. There are people that are going to be put in your path, that God's going to put in your path, that are for your Arbonne business. And that it is not just to contribute to your organization, but it's for them. This is never about us. But there are people that are going to be drawn, and God is going to trust you with only you. They're going to join your team, or they're going to join someone on your team. You guys, we're trusted with that. Like, that is someone that we can, like we have a lot of opportunity to literally contribute towards their life becoming transformed. So we're trusted with that. We're trusted with their dreams. We're trusted with their desires. We're trusted with their why. We're trusted with their family and the legacy that they want to leave behind. I take that as a huge responsibility. So again, while no one is perfect, I do believe that it is our responsibility to be perfected. And by the way, when we come to like talks about Bible, when the Bible says the word perfect, I'm like, no, Lord, you can perfect me. Like, go ahead and try to perfect me, or like make, like perfect me, because the Bible, the word in the Bible, perfect, actually means complete. There are no such thing as perfect people. So you do want to strive for perfection, because that in the Bible actually means complete. And I want the Lord to complete who I'm supposed to be. Executive National Vice President Miranda Bertram said years ago on stage at GTC, and she said when she hits her head on the pillow every single night before she goes to bed, she knows that she did everything that she could based on her God-given potential that day to live her day to the fullest. Meaning, I served, I made, like I did my job, I contributed, I made a difference in people's lives, everything that she wanted to be as a human being. She doesn't go to sleep at night until she completes those. And then when her head does hit the pillow, she says, if I don't wake up in the morning, I want the Lord to say, well done, good and faithful servant. That's Executive National Vice President Miranda Bertram. And I think she's a great mark to follow. She has fruit. Her business is fruitful. Her life is fruitful. Miranda, we love you. But that is an example of someone who does not allow a critical spirit to get in the way of their business and their life. And she's been trusted. She's been trusted with lots and lots and lots of souls in her environment. So in Luke 6:45 says, a good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart, and an evil man brings evil things out of the evil things stored up in his heart. For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. So making sure that you're speaking life. And honestly, you guys, if it's just something that you struggle with, like, ask God to change you, because he will, he can. So, but you gotta let him. So ask God to change you. Elijah and I were talking a while ago. We went on this kayaking trip, and it was really sweet and really fun. And we were just talking about our lives and what our lives look like, but we were also talking about, I'm gonna get emotional. We were also talking about, what if somebody would have had a critical spirit on him or I, what would our life look like now? And I'm here to tell you guys that because I have surrounded myself with people who do not operate in a critical spirit, my life is full of life and joy and abundance. And what God has done in us and through us is absolutely priceless. But a lot of it is due to the people in the environment that I'm around. One of those people is my pastor's wife. I don't know what I would have done if she would have ever had this critical spirit in like a role in my life. I love her. She started off as my friend, and then she became my pastor's wife, and I'm so thankful for her. But because of the fruit that was in her life, she was someone that I actually respected and looked up to, and actually, I guess respect is probably the best word, where I was like, wow, there's fruit in her life. And I stopped and listened to what she had to say. Miranda Bertram, that ENVP Miranda Bertram that I mentioned earlier, she's another one of those people. National Vice President Missy Hides, she's another one of those people that's had a big influence in my life and how they conduct our lives. But I've also watched, and never once did I ever recognize any of those four things as a critical spirit. Are any of those people perfect? Absolutely not. Have they struggled with that before? I'm sure I have. But it is still a mark in moving forward. We take one step from glory to glory, and we keep the goal in front of us. You keep that target in front of you. I hope that helps you guys. Be mindful. Others are going to be critical of you. And just be mindful that you're not critical of others. And that actually does include your teams. It includes your clients. It includes your upline. It includes me. It includes your upline. It includes Arbonne Corporate. It includes your neighbor. It includes the person that didn't text you back. It includes your parents, your siblings, your children. It includes every single relationship that you have in your life. So make sure that you're just conscientious and that you make a sincere, conscious effort to not have any of those 4 characteristics of a critical spirit. And if you do, then just say, I'm sorry, God, help me not to do it again. Repent and move forward. You know what I mean? And I say repent, it's such a, people think it's such a religious word, but it actually means to change your actions. And then you just let God handle the rest. So I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing, amazing rest of your week, and stay tuned for not season 4, but episode 4. And we will see you guys later. Mwah. Love you guys. Go make a difference.